Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. Not such a great subject matter, but we are here. Shalom, family. So I'm sure many of you heard by now of two white caregivers, and this happened in the state of Georgia, the infamous Georgia, where they fed white children before feeding Black children. And these children were 2 years old in this room. And this is how it all starts, with conditioning our children to believe they are less than, and there is something great about being white, when scientifically they said there is nothing special about being white. Okay. But these are the same people that like going by the science until the science say there's nothing special about being them. And it is the truth. So we're going to talk about this story, and we're going to also talk about how Black parents can counteract these psychological warfare tactics that they're using on our children. It doesn't stick with all Black children, and there's a reason for that. Now, it does stick with some. I'm not going to deny that, but it doesn't stick with all. It didn't stick with me. And I'll explain why it didn't. And it has a lot to do with parenting and you counteracting whatever they do. It's almost like a chess move. But you got to do it in a way where you win. And anything they try to do to your child will only have a temporary effect, but not a lasting effect to them. So we've been up against a lot when you look at everything historically that has happened. I think one of the most profound things, y'all, that I can remember in my life was when I was about 16 years old. My father had a brother. His name was Elton. He died at the age of 36. In the cemetery down there in Irwin County, Georgia, slaves were in the back of the cemetery. And then, of course, up front were the more recent deaths. And I remember my mother taking me back to where the slaves were. And when I looked down in the ground, y'all, there were so many children. So many children got killed during slavery. A lot. And when you go see the slave cemetery, if the markers in the ground were able to survive, where you can still read them, it is astonishing how many children were killed. So when you read how many were killed on the plantation, it is the truth when you start looking in slave cemeteries. We could not go all the way back because the more further back in the cemetery you went, the ground was very soft. So it was very difficult to get all the way in the back. But just from what I saw, it was just astonishing. But let's face it, Black children have never been spared from racism, and they make sure they're not. They make sure that they're not in their policies. Thank you, Cameron Charles, for the super chat. They make sure to just do all kinds of psychological things and say things, just like we saw recently in all the virtual learning. It was like every single week there was some racist incident where the instructor or the teacher said something and got the students in an uproar. Some of y'all might remember the Black mother that started screaming at the teacher because this white teacher was trying to tell these students that George Floyd did something wrong and he got what he deserved. And the mother had to step in and just tell this teacher off. And then remember the teacher in Florida that was with high school students and said whites didn't beat slaves? See, that's what our children are up against. Now, the unfortunate thing, y'all, is many of these kids are not coming home to tell you these things. And that's where you as a parent got to encourage them to open up about what's going on in the classroom. You can't remedy a situation that you don't know about. But they got caught red-handed during virtual class because many parents were able to see. And we had that one Georgia teacher talking about she was assaulted on a train and complaining about black people to black kids. It's just astonishing. But see, they want that white woman to remain in the classroom with black children. And the goal is to uphold white supremacy and make your child feel like they are less than. That's the end goal. But it doesn't have to work. That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't have to work. So we will talk about that after I go over the stories that many of you are already familiar with. So we're going to talk about a few things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Shalom to everybody in the chat if you just came in. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1. Okay. I'm not laughing at y'all. Loretta's in here with me. And as soon as I said, please give me a 1, she raised up her paw. It was kind of funny. Oh, you want to give me a 1 too? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started, y'all. Many of you may know by now there was a daycare in Georgia, and it was live streamed in the classroom. And quite a few daycares will do this, where they will live stream what's going on in the class. That way parents can click in on their phone and just see what's going on. Well, it's not going to work if you got Karen in the class. So these were 2 white women in this daycare classroom, and these children, many of them are 2 years old. And they decided, they decided to feed the white children. And as you can clearly see, there's a black child here. Look like a little black girl. There's a black child here and here without plates. And all the ones you see with plates are white children. So, of course, this raised a lot of hell. Black parents have since removed their children from this daycare. Now, I don't know if it was all of them, but I did read that quite a few black parents got their children out of there. Even at 2 years old, Karen can do a lot of harm to your children. If you don't stay on top of things, they can do a lot of harm to your children. And see, that's another reason why they want these schools open. They need to resume doing this psychological warfare on your children. And it's up to you not to let that happen. So this is the Daily Dot, April 10th, 2021. Not one black child has food. Viral image shows only white kids in a daycare class eating. And they're aware of this. You got Karen sitting right here, and you got another Karen standing up right here. So they said it was 2 adults, so 2 white females. Okay, historically, these women don't teach your kids nothing but self-hate. That's about it. They don't teach your children nothing. I don't know why our people don't understand. Karen is not a good educator. She sucks at education. You are better than any Karen they can put in front of your child to teach. And that's what we have to start believing, because it's the truth. Okay, a live stream of a daycare center classroom captured caregivers apparently feeding white kids before black kids in Georgia, sparking accusations of racism against the center. Now, they tried to make this claim that these black parents misinterpreted what was going on. How the hell do you misinterpret this? Okay, how the hell do you do that? Boy, talk about insulting our intelligence. Boy, that high IQ ain't worth a damn. The classroom at Kids Are Kids location was reportedly being live streamed so that parents could check in on their kids to see how they were doing throughout the day. One parent of a 2-year-old boy noticed how white children were eating lunch while black children in the class were not. Macaulay took a screenshot of the scene, which features all the children sitting at tables. Plates of food are only in front of white children. They were skipping all of the black kids, it seems like, Macaulay told CBS 46. All the white kids got their lunch and all the black kids had to wait. From the video and pictures that we saw today, we are just completely disturbed. Macaulay said the boy's mother immediately went to Roswell Daycare Center to pick him up after witnessing the live stream. That's exactly what she should have done. In fact, every black parent should have went up there and grabbed their kids at that point. Believe me, if these caregivers, if that's what you want to call them, I don't believe that's what they are, but if they're doing this to your black kid over food, you can best believe it's a lot more things they are doing to your black child other than just this food incident. Trust me, it's way more than that. He added that she confronted the director of the center while there. I'm not really sure because I'm not in the classroom. Maybe it's a dietary thing. No, giving food to white kids but not black kids ain't no dietary thing. Okay, now you're just making up excuses for them. And I don't like that this parent said that. But she did. So let's go on. Maybe it's a dietary thing. He recalled the director telling the child's mom. I mean, talk about insulting your intelligence. According to the Daily Mail, the family of the 2-year-old posted the screenshot to Instagram, where it went viral. This is truly unbelievable. You better know this won't be the last time you hear from me on this. User Marquise Dogtreat wrote, along with the screenshot, why does every white kid have their food? Not one black child has food in front of them. Thank God for cameras in classrooms because there is no way to hide this racism. And here we go. In the year of 2021, this is truly unbelievable. The year has nothing to do with racism. Okay, let's just put that out there. The year we're in has zero to do with racism. As Blacks, we always strive to send our kids to school in suburban areas. But I'm telling you firsthand that is not always best, they continue. This is not a black or white issue. This is simply wrong. No, it is a black and white issue. That's why your black child is sitting there with no food. Okay. And how do you straighten out the situation when the parents don't even talk with common sense? And these parents apparently are not. The account tagged the Kids Are Kids Corporation. Their corporate office said in a post, so they did respond in a post. The corporate office responded on Thursday by calling the screenshot disturbing and cutting ties with the location in question. Our company has decided to terminate that franchise Kids Are Kids contract and branding, effective immediately, leaving them to operate independently. President and CEO David Vinson said in a statement posted to Instagram, "We apologize to the families, the community, and all of those impacted by this situation. And we'll use this as a learning tool to remind our kids staff on the importance of diversity and inclusivity." Well, that's too late. Okay. This happened, excuse me, this happened when they were still under contract. So technically, the parents can still sue, although they cut ties after the fact. They can still sue the corporation. And that's what they need to do. They need to lawyer up, go after the corporations, these two caregivers in the class that were doing these kind of things, and, and sue them. They, trust me, just this picture alone is very incriminating. Vincent added that the corporate office will help locate alternate preschool options for families displaced by the decision. It remains unclear if the daycare will continue operations. Well, I would make sure they don't. You got to get that license pulled from them. And that's that's how their operating license, you're going to have to get that pulled. And you should be able to do that very easily, especially with, the proof that you have. Dee Gillespie, director and owner of the location, said, per Daily Mail, "We know the act was random and the photo doesn't show the entire room. We believe if the parents viewed the videos, they would understand." Understand what? They're looking at white kids sitting there eating food and black kids sitting with nothing. What do they have to understand? Wow. I wish they could see the compassion we love, Gillespie reportedly added. Well, I don't see no compassion. I don't see it. And many of the parents didn't see it either. And see, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I can say, not all Black parents are on board. Unfortunately, let's be real. There are some Black parents that will look at this, see what's going on, and still put their kids back up there, because we don't put our foot down hard enough when these things occur. There are many things you can do. Number one, I understand you may work, but just because you work, that doesn't mean it's right for you to put your children in a bad situation. Sometimes you may have to reach out to a relative and just pay that relative to look after your 2-year-old. You may have to look for an alternative. And I mean, that's Georgia. There should be Black daycare centers that are around that won't treat your kid like that. I mean, we got Black daycares here in my state. There's got to be some down there in Georgia. You can't tell me there's none. And you can investigate these people, and you can make sure these two caregivers that's in the room that fed these white kids first, you can make sure they don't work in daycare again. Plain and simple. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, many of our people are wising up. I would say for more than a decade, and I'm going to show you some sample articles. Now, this one is from 2015, A Rise of Homeschooling Among Black Families. Many Black families had enough of the racism in schools, and many of these teachers doing racist and saying racist things in the classroom. They're undereducating Black children. That's really the only purpose of the white female teacher, and why the Black community is so inundated with white teachers, because they're trying to make sure your children never catch up to theirs. They don't want your children to be high achievers. So they're there just to slow your kids down, tear down their self-esteem and uphold that school to prison pipeline. They don't have no other purpose in being there. That's why I said they can't give your kid any kind of education that you can't do 50 times better. If you have to work, there's ways to get around that. When I first started homeschooling my son, I was working a full-time job and I still made it happen. Okay. And this one is from 2018. Black families increasingly choose to homeschool kids. So it has been happening a lot, especially, I would say, over the last 20 years. It is happening. And this is long before COVID, as you can see, 2015, 2018, and I have some from 2021. So it is happening. Many parents don't like what they see, or they don't feel their kids they feel their kids should be way further along than what they are. And that's what they're doing. They're just slowing your children down. They don't want them to excel. And you don't need somebody with that kind of attitude in the classroom with your children. You really don't need that. And I don't know. I don't know. What is it going to take to wake families up already? And you have to wonder, I don't know why those aren't open, but I don't care at this point. You have to wonder, see right here, Black families don't fit the mold, but we're doing it anyway. That came out March 18th, 2021. And there's a lot of Black parents, even in some articles that I'm reading, they're very adamant about not sending their kids back to school. They're more comfortable with their, let me just put Black parents, cut that off. And that is the right thing for your children. Now, let me just tell you what my father did. And if you gave super chats and super stickers, thank you, Mr. Lawrence 777. And thank you, Black Cougar 1959. Thank you so much. Now, one thing about my parents, they talked to me about racism and what it meant for me to be in a world that was racist against Black people. We had that talk. And one thing I can honestly say that I'm grateful for, they never allowed people to tear me down without building me back up. That's why when they would be racist towards me, it never stuck. It never stuck, because when I got home, my parents gave me a lot of positive reinforcement. That's how you counteract it. So whatever they do to try to tear down the psyche of your children, you got to be there to build it back up. And just understand, you as a parent, what you will say to your children and the things that you do to always build them back up will stay with you throughout the rest of your life. What they do to try to tear you down will only have a temporary effect on you. And that's how you do it. That's how you overcome it. That's how you overcome it. And trust me, when you start blowing off and not even giving your attention and time to a lot of the hateful things they say, it will impact them more than it impacts you. Just watch when they try to do things and they're looking for that reaction from you, and you look at them and you just kind of, oh, I don't care about that, and you move on. Watch their faces. Trust me, they're more impacted when you don't react than when you do. I remember one time they had, and they didn't like me and I didn't like them either, and I didn't care. One time when I was at work, they used to have these women meetings just for the female employees. And at first I went to the meetings, and they were okay. It wasn't that impressive, but I went and it was okay. I stopped going. You know why I stopped going to those meetings? Because at the end of the day, they were only promoting white females. But all the Black and Latinos and even the Asians that went to the meeting, females, we weren't getting promoted, just the white women. So I stopped going. If it's not going to benefit me to go, what the hell am I going there sitting and wasting my time? I'd rather just sit at my desk and continue to work. So that's what I did. I just kept working. And finally they approached me and they were like, you haven't been coming to meetings. And I said, I don't want to come to your meeting. What am I coming to your meeting for? And I told them, I said, the only one getting promotions around here are white women. Black women are not getting. So what am I showing up at your meeting for? Don't bother me about your meeting anymore. And when I stopped showing interest in the meeting, it was impacting them worse than it did me. I just kept sitting there and working. I didn't give a shit about their meeting. Okay, let's see here. Thank you, Sherry, for the super sticker. And thank you, Justin, for the super sticker. Yeah, I mean, come on, but yeah, I mean, when you stop paying attention and stop making a big deal out of things they do, trust me, it impacts them more than it does you. So I never showed up at those meetings again. And it deeply bothered them that I would not come and give them my time. and I was adamant about not going back. If I don't see something is going to work out for me, I'm not going to give it my energy. Why should I? And I'm glad I did it. Now, yeah. Thank you, Dee, for the super chat. But never let them get away with doing these sort of things to your children and not make them understand what the world is really like. Thank you, Donna, for the super sticker. Always make sure they know what the real world is like. Don't keep that from them. And the more you prepare your children from racism, the less impact it's going to have on them. Because that's what happened to me. When they would say all kinds of silly things, I would just look at them like they were crazy. But the fact that I went on and didn't give them my time or attention, trust me, that destroys their psyche. They want your attention. See, when they use that N word, they want that to really impact you. They want you to fall apart. But if you show them, you know what, you not only is that not important, you ain't important. You are even less important. and you go out of your way to act like they ain't even in the room when they're there. One thing about these people, they love the hell out of attention. And when you start pulling that attention away from them, watch how psychologically it impacts them when you don't pay them no mind. Or you know what else they'll do? They'll try to be on a job and say you're anti-sociable. And the only reason why they're saying that is they feel they deserve your attention and you're not giving them the attention they need or want. See, when they call me anti-sociable, I know I'm doing something right. Okay, I know I pat myself on the back and I know I'm doing something right. I ain't got to talk to you to do my job. Okay, I don't have to have no conversation with you in order to do my job. I don't have to go to happy hour with you or hang out with you. The hell with you. Okay, all together. Thank you, John, for the super chat. I mean, just look at when we're on social media. Look at how they always want to come and listen in on what we're doing. But see, that is taught behavior. They are taught to believe they got to police us and listen to us and pay attention. And oh my God, if they say something, you go run and tell someone. We ain't going. Look, if we were going to plot to overthrow the government, you think we going to come on social media to do that? We ain't going to do shit on social media, okay? It ain't going to happen. Nothing is going to happen on social media and you're going to run and go tell somebody, okay? I mean, seriously, nobody is that stupid. But this is what they do, but we don't get wrapped up in what they're doing. Do you really care? Do you care about going on their channels and watching what they're talking about? No, we generally don't care. We don't care. But when we open our mouths, they care. They care. Now, I laugh because if some of y'all might remember when I went over on Anchor, some white supremacists followed me over there and then made a video on my podcast. And then, of course, I had to call him out and said, if we went to the gates of hell, these people would be right on our heels. Going into it would be right on our heels. But and then one of them came in the comments and said, we don't care. Yes, you did. That's why you recorded my podcast. If you didn't care, what the hell you recorded for? We don't care. They generally care about what we're doing. We don't care about what they're doing. And that's how it's always been for centuries. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got grandchildren or children, just make sure you keep that line of communication open with them, especially if they're in the room with Karen every day. Make sure you know what's going on. And if there's anything you see that you don't like, you make sure it gets reported and make sure your children are okay on a regular basis if you are going to send them to school. So that positive reinforcement is priceless up against what they're trying to do and destroying your children's psyche. So all is not lost. You just got to do your part to make sure it does not damage your children. You got to counteract what they're doing, and it won't take hold of your children. You see, look, let me just give you some examples. They have been trying to, now when they can't get to you, what they try to do is character assassinate you. Okay, if they don't have nothing else left in their bag of tricks, the next thing is character assassination. And just know, even thank you, the chosen ones, Daniels, even character assassination does not work like it did back in the day. It may have worked once upon a time, but it doesn't work so well now. For example, every time there's a shooting at a synagogue, what do? They bring up Louis Farrakhan, the Capitol shooting recently. If you remember, they brought up Louis Farrakhan, right? Now, they have been at Louis Farrakhan, dragging him in the media now for probably a good 2 decades. Does it look like any Black people from the Nation of Islam trying to run from Louis Farrakhan? That man got a huge following. And no matter how bad this media wants to take him down, as long as his followers are with him, it won't be done. It doesn't matter what they get on there and say, it won't be done. And what they don't realize is you got a bad track record with Black people. You got a bad track record with lying to us. So when it comes down to certain people, your character assassination is simply not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay. Back in the day, I remember they did the same thing to Muhammad Ali. They tried desperately to just get everybody to hate Muhammad Ali. They didn't all love Muhammad Ali. You know when they started loving him? When he became an old man. Then they started loving Muhammad Ali. But back in the day, when he was on his game, they couldn't stand him. But despite the fact that they tried their best to character assassinate this man in the news, it never took. It never took. People didn't try to get away from Muhammad Ali. They stayed right with him. So even that bag of trick is not a sure thing. Thank you, Miss Be Happy Hap. Thank you so much for the super sticker. So I don't even pay attention to their character assassination because if, even when I was on jobs, if they want me to dislike somebody, and usually it was always a black person they were character assassinating, by the way, it was consistently black people. I didn't pay attention to them because whatever reason you want me to dislike them, I know it's going to benefit you more than me. So I'm not going to do it. Okay. So if me not liking another black person on a job, it means that you're going to benefit in some kind of way, or maybe you got some agenda to try to kick them out of their job so you can bring your friend or relative in. No, I'm not going along with you. I'm not going along with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody they fear, they try to destroy their character. That's what they do. And, I don't pay that any mind. Them not liking a black person, why should that make any difference to me? You got a reputation of not liking black people. So you liking or disliking one and trying to destroy their character, what is that supposed to mean to me? But unfortunately, it does work on some of our people. Look, recently we know DMX died. We know this, right? Now, did he live a squeaky clean life? No. But you know what? Neither do white entertainers. They don't live no squeaky clean life, and they're doing all kinds of drugs and alcohol too. And so, no, you know, they don't drag their people when they die, and I'm not going to drag DMX. If DMX is to be judged, then it's up to our Heavenly Father to do that. That's not up to me to sit and drag my own. I'm not going to do it. Mm-hmm. So, but unfortunately, some people did go in the comment section. I don't feel bad. He did drugs. He's irresponsible. He's this. He's that. Well, that's a nice self-righteous attitude to take, but you're not the one that's going to judge him. Our Heavenly Father will judge DMX on anything he did wrong. It is not to you. It's not up to you to do that. So I'm just steering clear, and look, there's always good and bad things that you will see in people. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull something up for y'all to see. See if I can find it. Yes. Oh, yeah. All right, let me see if I can get that. I don't know why that's not coming up, but all right. Well, there's always an upside and downside to all of us. Nobody has lived a perfect life. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything somebody has done, but we have some people that will hear what the white media say and they will just jump aboard and go along with whatever is said. And that's real disappointing to me. You can't even say that you are doing your own thinking if you're repeating their exact words. And that's what some of the people in the comment section did. All they did was repeat everything they heard on the white media. Wow. Thank you, Floyd, for the super chat. Do a video on Black leadership in Atlanta paying for private security and separation in the millions for Buckhead while Black folks are suffering daily. That's politics, man. That's how politics is. That really explains a lot of politics in America. All right, let me see if this damn thing will open now. Come on, come on. Okay, I think it might open now. Let's see if we can. All right. Okay, it might work. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this to work so you can see this. All right. All right, let me share my screen. See if I can get this to play. Now, this is DMX and his daughter on the slingshot ride. This is him and his baby girl.
Hold your head back. Hold your head back. Okay. Ready? Okay, mama. It's too late. We're gonna do it. Come on, Pete. I got you. It's okay, mama. Hold your head back. Hold your head back. Come on. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, mama. It's okay. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Daddy's right here. It's okay, mama. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Stop crying. Daddy's right here. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Okay. Okay. Let's see. It's okay. It's going down. It's going down. It's going down slowly. It's going down slowly. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. Daddy right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Okay, okay, I got you. I got you, mama. I got you. I got you. Daddy's right here. That's okay. Okay, we're going slow. We're going slow down. It's okay. Stop crying. Daddy got you. See, it's over. You did it, babe. You already did it. See? It's already over. Yay. You did it. Big girl. Big girl. See? You did it, mamas. It's already over. It's already over. It's already over. Okay? It's already over. It's already over. Daddy right here. Daddy right here. I told you I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go, mamas. Okay? Daddy got you. Daddy gonna put us all the way down. Okay? How was it? They gotta break you. It's okay. You didn't cry, right? Say no, bitch. No. All right. I know you did good. I'm proud of you. Damn.
See that? You know, so some people were down on him because of a lot of kids he had, but he was still a father in the best way he knew how to be a father. You know? So it was a beautiful thing to watch that. You know, a lot of parents, there's some parents that have kids and disappear and they don't even do those kind of things with their children, but he did. He did. You know, I remember the first ride I got on, y'all. It was down in Atlantic City and I got on that ride with my father. You know, so you don't forget stuff like that. You don't. And when I saw that, it reminded me of getting on a ride with my dad. Yeah, he had 15 kids. He, remember his first wife, I think they had about 6 together when he was married to her. Yeah, I mean, look at all those Mormons. Look, just like Black Mama said, you think about the Mormons, some of those men, they have 35 children. and 50 children, you know? So trust me, they have more than DMX. You can best believe that. They do. Yeah, it's really sad. That's another reason why I'm not going to drag him because, his kids are looking online at what people are saying. And no matter what you feel about him, those kids, they still love him. They still love him. In fact, I had came across a photo he took with his kids, and it was a bunch of his kids in the photo with him. Thank you, N Brown, for the super chat. Thank you. But y'all, we're in a very volatile time. They're trying to open this place up and it's not going well. In fact, I got a video that's coming out tomorrow on the governor up in Michigan because, Michigan is now the epicenter. She's trying to close everything back down because it's gotten really bad there. And you know how it was the first time she tried to shut down. Some people tried to plan to kidnap her over keeping the state shut. Thank you, Black Cougar, for the super sticker. I mean, super chat. There's a lot of videos, believe it or not, on DMX, and they're positive ones that are out there. They're not all bad. Well, you know what, Devin S., they know what they're doing to us is wrong. They know it. They are fully aware of it. They just don't want us talking about it. When we talk about it, that bothers them. It's that suffer in silence. We know you're suffering, but don't talk to us about it. Don't bring it up. That's their attitude. And that's very unrealistic. It's unrealistic because as long as you don't resolve what you have done to us, then there is no way to stop talking about it. Until you make things right, you can't demand that people stop talking about something. And that's what they don't get. Yeah, we know we're doing this. Yeah, we know it's wrong, but why are you talking about it? Because you didn't resolve nothing. And as long it is kept unresolved, people are not going to stop talking about it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That is not hard to understand at all. And we know they're not going to resolve anything because that's not how they're made. They're not made to, make things right. And that's why you haven't seen them do it in 500 years. They're not made like that. They'll let it go another 1,000 years unresolved if our Heavenly Father don't step in and put a stop to it, which he's doing with COVID. If you don't stop it, they'll shoot. If you gave them rulership over this earth forever, they would keep it this way forever. That's why it's got to be stopped somewhere along the line. It's got to come to an end. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason, that's what they don't get. You didn't resolve nothing, so you can't sit there and expect someone not to talk about something. That's unrealistic. So You know, I know many of you have children. Just make sure you always know what's going on, especially if they're in these kind of situations, you know, with Karen in the classroom or Brad in the classroom, and you make sure you always know what's going on. That it is in your best interest to know. So whatever damage they're causing, you know what to do to undo the damage. And if we're diligent about that, then we can counteract what they're doing a lot better if your children are not affected that deeply by the system. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And we can shut that down, and make sure you shut it down. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. I love each and every one of you. And if you're just getting here, just go back and listen to the video, you know, but we got to make sure whatever damage they do, we undo it. Undo it. I don't care if you just got to sit at the dinner table and tell your children they are the greatest things on the planet. You do that. You do it so they don't internalize all of these hateful things that are being done to them. So everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll definitely be coming back to do this again. Love you, family. Shalom.